welcome to our YouTube section for this Education Agenda program. I have three school principals with me. They are Principal Sarhanna Smith from Reed School in Bridgeport. It's a pre-K-8 school. Principal Judith Puglisi from Metropolitan Business Academy, and that's a magnet school. And Principal Edith Johnson from our comprehensive high school, Wilbur Cross, the largest one in New Haven.
Not
and tonight, in this segment, they're going to tell you about, they're going to tell parents, students, how to work effectively at success for our children. These are very committed people. They know what it's like to be challenged, and they know what it's like to succeed. So now, who wants to start? Maybe we'll start with the pre-K.
Sure.
Go ahead, Sarhanna.
Sure. You know, I think it's very important that that parents reach out and ask the teacher, what are some things that I can do at home to help my child? And we often hear those types of questions. It is just as important to follow the advice that's given as it is to ask for the help. Common examples that you will routinely hear teachers tell parents in the pre-K through 8 setting is reading every night with your child, practicing their math facts, talking with your child about the day, especially for the youngest learners. Talking about the day is so important and critical for vocabulary development, and just for that oral speaking, the oral speaking skills that we try our hardest to develop in our earliest learners all the way through. It's also important for parents to reach out to staff, such as what we call support staff, school counselors, school psychologists, administrators, specialists. We have a literacy coach and a math coach. It's very important to reach out to these people. If you feel that some of the things that you're doing are not working, contact us and say, I'd really like to come in for a meeting. I'm very concerned. We'll put a team together, and I know that that's the case at my colleagues' schools here. We'll put a team together and we'll sit down to meet to talk about what the issues are. I talked about this, I touched on this about asking for help, but it's also important to access the help that is offered. Sometimes we recommend that children, we have a school-based health clinic in our school in Bridgeport, Reed School. We have what's called a school-based health clinic, so they function as a separate entity, but they're located in our building. We often ask parents to sign their children up so that they can get some counseling services, so that they can have another person to talk to about some things that may be bothering them. Sometimes that is looked down upon, and parents don't always want to go that route, and they feel that no, maybe now is not the right time to do that. But then what happens is months later, or maybe even a year later, the parent may be back at the table, and we may be discussing some of the same concerns, or maybe some things have gotten worse. So it's really important that parents access the help that's offered, but they also work with their children to help them access help that is offered.
Okay, we'll come back and ask you to close out. So the difference here now, Mrs. Johnson, your school is a comprehensive high school, and your school, Miss Puglisi, is a charter school.
No, a magnet school.
A magnet school, I'm sorry. It's a magnet school. And there is a difference. Yours is a much smaller school. So I want you to tell parents, what are the key things you think are important for them to know about helping their students to succeed, whether they're going on to college or to a trade or whatever?
Very similar to what my colleagues said over here. I think it's very important for parents to build communication networks at the high school. Your child's going to see 8 different teachers and maybe have after-school activities with different adults. So I think early on, get the email addresses of all the adults that your child's interacting with, and reach out and introduce yourself before there's a problem. This way you build a relationship, and then when the problem does occur, by the time you've gotten to meet everybody already, and you'll find out that you may be able to pick a point person out of there who can speak to the team
That's a
when
great
you're not
suggestion.
there.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
we
Having a
do-
point person.
Yeah, because we
Yes.
do have advisors, but every school may not have advisors. But if you reach out to all the teachers, you'll be able to pick the person that you're most comfortable with, and they can talk to their colleagues for you. So that's one of the first things. Another thing, I think it's very valuable for parents to help their children set educational goals and communicate those goals to their teachers. And I tell students who come into my office, I said, it's quite powerful for a teacher to hear from a child, I want to be an honor roll student. My goal is to have straight A's in this class. That, I think, that impresses adults. That adult will have in the back of their head, and they'll always be helping that child reach the goal.
Wow, that's great.
And the third thing is, I think children sometimes think smart children never ask for help. And really, the children who are excelling the most are the ones who constantly ask for help and access the most support systems. So I tell the children all the time, you got to dream big and always ask for help, and you'll do
Okay.
well.
Mrs. Johnson.
Oh, my colleagues have been so eloquent in what they shared. So
Yeah, but you have a big school. She has 900, which is huge.
That's big
I think
too.
it's- Yes, but
Right.
you have 1,500.
So I think it's very critical for all parents to make sure that you have your hands on your children. Sometimes when your children get to high school, you're like, they're teenagers, they're independent. I don't have to be on top of them the way that I was in middle school and high school. I mean, middle school and elementary school. And I think that's just the opposite. This is such a critical time where you need to be talking to them about decisions, about who their friends are, what's happening in class, and not just when they say, I don't have homework, accept that. Let me see your homework. Let's have a conversation about it. If you know your ninth grader's reading of Mice and Men, then maybe you should read that, or do what other people may do is get the quick summary, online, so you can have that conversation. I often tell parents at orientation, if your child comes home to say, I don't ever have any homework, they're not telling you the truth. If you haven't seen a report card, it's not a lack of, it was either mailed to you or we had report card conference night. So it's important, know who the principal is, have those conversations with teachers, but the support staff, know who the office secretaries are, know who the guidance secretaries, so you can call, because you're not always going to get me as the principal or an assistant principal, so you can say, hey Lisa, listen, this is so-and-so's mom, I really need this, and she has that relationship with you. And I also think it's have realistic expectations, and remember, when you come into school, yes, we understand your child is the most important thing, and that's the only thing that you want to talk about, but understand we have a responsibility, like myself, to 1,527 other students and families, and just keep that in mind when you come to the school. And the last thing I think is, remember, I think it's human, we bring our experiences. So I've had many parents, because it's Wilbur Cross, I've met parents who've had such positive, wonderful experiences 20 years ago, when they were, or 15 years, whenever, when they were at Wilbur Cross, and other parents who haven't.
Or you have grandparents who are raising, lots of grandparents raising their children.
Right, or aunts and uncles.
Yes,
And just remember, try to come in with an open mind and open heart, and remember, regardless of whether you like the principal or the teachers, you think they're right or wrong, we all come from a place of, we want your child to be successful, and no one has a hidden agenda to hurt you or to hurt your child. And it's hard when people have had trauma, have had negative experiences in the academic world, either for another child, their child in another school, or for themselves, and you bring that with you. We're humans, we bring our baggage. And just remember to try to understand, we're all coming from the same place. We want your child to be successful, we want your child to graduate.
I'm going to ask you three in the next few minutes we have left to talk about the students missing a lot of schooling and how important it is for parents to either let the school know if there's something, for example, in Greater New Haven, children sometimes literally live in two different countries. Something happens and they're gone to Puerto Rico, or they're gone to Jamaica, or they're going to St. Croix for 3 weeks, or whatever the case might be. And you don't know, you have truant officers going to find the students. We want you to talk about communicating with the school to let you know if there are some specific families. Do the child need to take work with him or her, that kind of thing. So while you think about that, I want to say to my audience that, you know, there are some issues that are not within the purview of the school principals to solve. It's within the purview of the district or the state sometimes. And class size is one of those issues. I know parents complain about, you know, Mike, you know, he never get a chance to ask a question or to answer a question because there are too many kids. I am not sure what principals can do about that, but I want to raise that as an issue for parents to understand. You can also talk to your school district. If, you know, if that's a big issue, you need to talk to your school district, not the principal, right? Many schools have open family clinics, as you talk about, the health clinics. We have one as well. Yes, and it's really important that parents encourage their children to go to the school nurse or clinic. If the child is feeling ill or something is wrong, don't stay in the bathroom for 2 hours, you know, rather than going into class. The whole thing about zero tolerance in discipline policies is an issue for many schools, and it's the district policy again. It's not the principal.
Well,
right? Or
yes, but for the most part as well, the principal does its judgment as far as if there's an infraction. And, you know, we have our policy for major things that happen. And, you know, and I know, like, I can speak for Wilbur Cross, we do have our student handbook where we're very clear this infraction is this piece, but we also have to understand there's certain things that is about safety and security for the building. You know, I don't think any principal, I know I don't, and I can speak for all of my colleagues, we don't go to work going, how many kids are we going to suspend today?
Right.
You know, that's you know, we want to keep our students in school. However, we have to also remember there are safety and security measures that may call for a suspension.
Okay, they're telling me that we only have 2 minutes left. I do want to say to parents that you nurture and you love your child. Encourage your child to ask questions. It is smart. Smart children ask questions. Encourage your child to speak up and to seek help in school, the help that he or she needs in school. That is so important. Now you each have about 35 seconds to say the last thing you want to leave with parents. So we're going to start this time with you, Mrs. Johnson.
We're all on the same team. We want your child to graduate and be successful, not only whether they go to school or the workforce. And please know that we all, every single person in school comes to work with that vision and that idea in mind.
Thank you.
Every child is gifted. Try to support your child to identify his or her gifts and help communicate to the teachers in school the many gifts that your child has.
Yes, and I'll piggyback. Recognize us as a partner. We're working toward the same goal, which is success for your child. Just to piggyback on what you said, we come to work every day. It's a new day, a fresh start. We are here to work with you, not against you.
Wow, and we want, those of us at OneWorld, we're all volunteers. We do this work because we care. We're all educators. We're passionate about helping students to succeed. And I'm sure that every parent, whether you have the skills to help your child with homework or not, you also want your child to succeed. So we're encouraging you to reach out to the schools that your children attend. Make notes when your child comes home and seem out of sorts. Ask the child questions and share information with the teachers at the school, because they cannot help you if they don't know what's happening outside of school. Please visit our OneWorld YouTube channel for various educational videos. Like us on Facebook, and please let us hear from you if something wonderful happens, not only when something terrible happens, but when something wonderful happens. And please partner with your school. you have as much responsibility to be an effective communicator as the teachers do. And we're glad that you joined us for this YouTube segment of OneWorld's Education Agenda. Thanks to Edith Johnson, principal of Wilbur Cross High School, Judith Puglisi, principal of Metropolitan Business Academy, and Principal Sarhanna Smith of Reed School in Bridgeport. Thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
N'Zinga.